the health disparity is just like massive.
For me, it's kind of like I don't think it should be used for birth control.
After everything's been done, after they've been convicted, after it's been proven.
Trump likes to say he wants to protect strength. We need strength, right? We need to assume this isn't just an endless war, or that Russia,
very tolerant, very tolerant.
Yeah, or that Russia can just take whatever they want.
So we're here at the U of I campus. We're gonna go sit at the Turning Point table today, help show some support for their event with Charlie Kirk. Also see if we can invite some productive conversation with some college students. I doubt it, but we shall certainly see. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you guys want more in-person content like this, more debate stuff. So let's have a good day. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm curious to know about your opinions on immigration.
Okay. In what sense? Be a little bit more specific.
Well, I mean, it is like I've seen a lot of like I come from like an immigrant background, so just seeing the people getting deported, it is a little bit disheartening. So I am curious about how you or if you support Charlie, how you can see your perspective.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm not here to debate, but I'm just here to understand.
Yeah, have some conversation. I get it. As far as like the humanity of it goes, yeah, I don't think anybody should be, celebrating as if it's a joyous thing. It certainly is sad seeing people get sent home or sent back to where they came from, especially if they have roots here. I definitely think that it's not a joyous thing, but there is an obligation to obey the law, and I think that the last 4 years show that illegal immigration has a pretty disastrous effect if it's unchecked and if it's allowed to become as bad as it got. And I think deterring illegal immigration is twofold. You have to strengthen the border, which Trump has done, but you also have to make a strong stance of deterrence, meaning you have to show people that we will enforce the rules. The previous status quo was you come here, you apply for asylum. Whether your claim is legit or not doesn't matter. You'll be able to stay in the United States for 10, 15 years until an immigration court hears your case, and then the judge will give you a deportation order and you don't follow it. So what's the incentive for illegal immigrants not to come here if they think that we don't, enforce the border laws?
Do you think that deterrence though should be absolute? Because what Trump is doing right now is he's stopping not just illegal immigration but also the asylum cases as well.
Yeah.
And those are people who are coming here not by choice but by force because of the background and economic or political situation that they're coming from. So I guess I want to know your thoughts about that specifically because. These are people who literally are not coming by choice.
Right. So I think asylum is a very specific thing. It's fleeing political persecution or threat of death. And I think a lot of people who are coming here trying to seek asylum aren't coming for that reason. They're coming because there's economic hardship maybe in their countries. Maybe it's not an overall safe country. But the criteria of asylum is pretty specific. So for instance, right, in Afghanistan, all the time that we were there, we worked with local Afghanis. And so they put a lot on the line to help the United States military, hoping that at the end of it, they would have a pathway to come to America, because living in Taliban-occupied Afghanistan, they would be politically persecuted for helping the United States. So that's a clear case of asylum. People leaving Venezuela because it's just a bad country isn't asylum. And the problem is what Joe Biden did is he allowed everybody to claim asylum. And because of that, because you get better benefits, you know what I mean? There's more protections, you get temporary social security numbers, you get access to welfare if you're considered an asylee. So they didn't process illegal immigration in the correct way. They made everybody asylees. And so it's hard to shuffle through who are the legitimate asylum claims and who aren't, when there's millions and millions and millions of these people.
How many were there?
What?
How many asylums, I guess? How many did Biden let in?
Illegal immigrants, 12 million. I would like to think that vast
Because there's so many
majority
different
were
numbers,
considered
right?
asylees.
Okay, so a majority of them, like what, like at least like 10 million or so, you think, like around that?
Yeah. Because I mean, no, what can you do in the country without some sort of like
Right. So they were granted that
ITIN
status
number? Or,
immediately, basically, right?
yeah, you
Like,
have to
upon
get
entry?
some. Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
You have to get some sort of ability to work, and so being an asylee grants you that ability, as opposed to like I think most people hear undocumented immigrant and they think like somebody just snuck in. They're basically off the grid, and that's not the case with the vast majority of the illegal immigrants that came.
So I'm wondering, I don't know for sure, but I'm wondering like if there could be an emergence now of new diseases or of existing diseases that now have an economic implication on the U.S.
Yeah.
Because we're no longer working to suppress like the health, or no longer working to support the health infrastructure of these other countries.
Right. No, I think you make a compelling argument. My only rebuttal to that, it may not be like a great one. It's just more about why is it the United States' obligation to take care of the rest of the world, especially when we're struggling ourselves with a $2 trillion deficit, $36 trillion in national debt. I think in an ideal situation, if our finances were in order as a country, our people were, doing better than they are now, I think maybe that's a solid conversation to have, but let's not act like there still aren't hundreds, if not thousands, of philanthropic organizations dedicated to that mission. The World Health Organization is dedicated to that mission. So if the argument is without U.S. funding, like everything in the world just crumbles, well then that exposes a broken system that is from the start. Like, you know what I mean? I think countries are obligated to a little bit of self-sufficiency. I don't think everybody can just be like reliant on the teat of the United States. So I think, again, we're just going through a period of restructuring right now. I hear what you're saying. We can't maintain a $2 trillion deficit and $36 trillion national debt. It's impossible. Or else everything crumbles here. And then if your argument is the rest of the world is reliant on us to exist and things crumble here, then that inevitably happens anyway. You see what I mean?
I think there has to be a certain level of reliance, though, just because of how. I guess that's a point where, like, that's I guess why politics is so messy and so like one side versus the other, because you have different thresholds for what does sympathy look like, what does your level of like moral obligation look like. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see like how it all evolves. I don't agree with what's happening, but now that we're in this.
What part? All of it?
Of like specifically U.S.
Oh, AID? Okay. No, I just meant disagree in terms of just like everything Trump's doing. But you said U.S.
I don't think I can disagree with anything in absolute.
Yeah.
But I also will say, like, I can't tell you everything that he is doing, because if you look at all his executive orders, which I think have been like the most, and like
I love it. I love it. That's what governance looks like. Effective governance. It looks like signing 50 executive orders in a day to make shit happen.
Or you could argue, like, if a new president comes in, it's easily like as quickly as it is enforceable, it could be just as quickly removed.
It makes it unpopular to remove it if it shows to be beneficial, though, if you know what I mean. Like, yes, somebody could just come in and reverse executive orders, but if the executive orders have a tangible positive benefit, that would be political suicide, i.e. Joe Biden coming in and reversing all of Trump's border policies via executive order, causing a massive immigration crisis, political suicide. So yeah, you have a point, but I think the American people, if they see good results from Trump the next 4 years and the continued, just discombobulation from the Democrats, I think the Republicans have at least the next 2 elections in the bag. All they need is a solid 4 years.